Well, it's,
Oh, yeah.
I think I got it going right. It's 9:30. It's time to call the Land Information Council meeting together. Took a notification, sent it to MIS. It was on the bulletin. So it was properly posted. I need approval of this 14-point agenda.
I make a motion to.
Motion by Supervisor Nolan, second by
I'll second it.
Julie. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now it's approval of the minutes of the November 12th meeting, 2025 meeting. Are there any additions or corrections? I have a motion to approve those.
I make a motion to approve.
My motion by Supervisor Owen, second. Any members can do vote. Josh, Deb, Steve.
I'll second.
Second by Deb. All in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The next thing on the agenda. I'm going too fast, excuse me. I put this in here, but.
So are you
Oh.
going, you're going to the 2025?
Yep, that's, I gotta, I'm trying to get it up here.
Yeah.
I'm not used to this mouse, it's like really fast. All right, and now Julie's kind of put together, working with, Deanne. Put together what we have in each, the 120, it's 230 is actually what it is actually what's in the grant fund. It looks like we've got in the base budget and the training, is that correct?
Yeah, so there's 0 in the base budget and I had a little bit left in the,
Good, wrong,
That's
that's your maybe.
training. And I need to review that. Cause I think we used all of that up. So the base budget for 23 and the other grant, the 78,368 and the 20,000 that is used up. There's 0 left in there. And then I believe that there's also 0 in the training grant, but I can
Okay,
review that.
and then in the retained fees fund, which is 480. It looks like we spent $30,600 for the licensing.
Yep.
And then it looks like the total left is. And we have the deposits that Deb makes, 26, January, February, March, April, and May. And then, the next thing we'll talk about is this, got cost sharing back from CARES for the aerials or photography we did. So we thought that was the best place to put it, since we took some of the money out of this account, put it back into this account. That was $10,790.80. So currently looks like we have $105,925.41 in that account.
So that's what I've been tracking. And I tracked it the best I could, but I also asked Leanna to give us an overview of how the accounts stand in the general fund, because we had years before this that the grant money was not spent and we couldn't track it. So in the years 20, 21, 22, and 23, there was other people that sat on the Land Information Council. And we can't track how they spent it, the money. So I had her pull a base budget sheet for each one of the funds, so we knew exactly what we had on hand for each of the funds. And that's not in your packet. I just had her do that at the last minute. So in actuality, that what we have left in the 230 account, which is from the different grants, we actually have $279,380.54. And so that money is grant money to be spent on projects that we have not accomplished through the other land grant plans that we have put in place. So that money is actually there to be used. And we don't know what's coming down the pike, if we will continue to get the money for the grants or how it will function. There's been a lot of talk on the outside that we're not sure if it's gonna keep coming in. So we have to just be aware of that. And then we did go back and also look at the 480 fund. So that is the land records fund coming from the registered deeds. And so that actually has an amount in it of $174,482.74. So just so you're aware that that money is in there. And that is to be used for the land information plan as well. That's where that money comes in.
I have a question. What was the years that we cannot track?
That we cannot track, like from 21 to 23. Because we had different people put in place and then people left. And then people retired. So it was really hard for us to go back and track all of that. I tried my best to do that. I asked Leanne to do deep dive, and those are the numbers that she came up with. So that money needs to be spent for items that we have in our plan.
Back then, I was an unofficial member of the group because land conservation was not an official member of the group. We were just advisory. Now that I do zoning too, so I am official member, but I don't know how they track things, and we've been trying to find things in what I have for records. It's unclear.
Legacy system wasn't very hard to find. It's really hard to find things in general analytics.
Yeah,
Have those, it's hard to pull from.
and we've been trying to, Julie and I have been trying to do a better job because we know we're not gonna be here forever. And have things in place so that, and it's in a folder, and every bill, everything is going into different parts of that folder, so we can track things a lot better. That's been the biggest issue.
Filled in some blanks for me because Sue had left a list of books that needed to be laminated and repaired. It was like, I don't know, $12,000 or $13,000. That might be some of that money that never got actually spent.
You could be right, Deb.
That's what I'm guessing.
So those books are still left to be done.
Does anybody have any more questions? Like I said, we're just trying to get it so it's more transparent, everybody can see what's going on.
Well, and it would be nice if we could do the scanner so that we can scan our indexes as well, like what we talked about last year. And I did not get a firm price on a scanner because it was, there wasn't any money, but if we've got this money in there, then that would be a really good place, really good investment. Yeah. So we-
large format?
Yes, and then you could utilize it as well for scanning and surveys.
Is that coming to our office? You like visiting us in the basement, right?
I don't mind this.
But you also have to remember that yours is pretty dated, so
Oh, I know.
at some point, if that goes down and we have nothing. So I think that's something that we should definitely consider doing, since we know we have money in there that wasn't spent yet
Yeah,
for those type of projects.
I think it's a good idea to make a list, let's get some quotes, what it's gonna be, things are gonna be, and then we'll come back and meet and discuss, and some of them will be in the grant, and some of them may be using grant money, some other, there's other things, so we'll, yeah. All right, so Nick from Ayers called me, and basically this is what the letter was. Basically, it's a cost share reimbursement, the check of the amounts I told you earlier for the ortho imaging project. Their partners that brought money to funds, DOT, Natural Resources Conservation Service, DNR, Wisconsin Emergency Management, I don't know who OnX is. The other, Maryland Power, Bureau of Indian Affairs. These were shared along with the money we got from the paid for, our Richland Electric Cooperative. So we got a check back, and he said it was probably the biggest check of any of the counties that did it, so he submitted that check, decided that we put it in the, I talked to Trish and Julie, we put it in the 480 fund. It's because then it can be used for anything we need to for land records, it's not specific for the grants, and we had used money in the past out of there for this, so I thought that was the best place to put it. Hopefully nobody has any objections, but we thought that was probably the cleanest place to put it. It's not really grant money.
Well, and we had borrowed the money out of there, so it was only fair that we put it back in that fund.
That's right.
That's 48, you said?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Is that reflected on this chart?
Yep,
Should be in there as
This is
10,000.
the last one.
that last one.
Oh, okay, yep. All right, thanks. Sounds appropriate.
All right, the next, moving on to reviewing of the 2025 grant. I've got there's the sheets explaining how the money was spent. A lot of what's MSA, we had Fiddler for the the heirs invoice, we had to pay for the, that were those?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, last the orthos, and then and Ezra license. Then we got the training grants that's been, so the monies were we got $78,368. The base budget grants, strategic, they gave us a flat 20,000 and then $1,000 for education. So the first section all came out of the 98,000 total, really, between the two grants. The base budget and the strategic initiative, and then the training. Yeah, there was some money left in the training, not all was spent.
Well, and I think it was, I just have to review it. So
Okay,
I will review that.
I'm sorry, there's some blank pages in this one. So this is what plan using the training funds for, and some of it was used for those, $1,000, it just, they give us that amount.
That's the max.
Yeah. And strategic initiative, I think everybody gets a fleet based amount, right? 20,000. Every county gets that. And so we use it to maintain the parcel data, which is, that's the biggest share of it now, is updating parcel data. We work with MSA, get those in there correctly on the maps.
They've been also been working on, this is 25. Never mind. Keep going.
Okay. So that's what that one was, that 25, the strategic grant. And then the base budget is the amount, difference between what we take in and is it $100,000? Julie, remember right? So every county needs at least $100,000. So it's what we take in, 100,000 minus what we take in, and that's the difference. And it's always like a year, it's always behind. So this would be the amount we got in 23 probably, what, they took it in 23, I don't remember, 24, and I think it's 23, right?
Is this what's helping pay for the Bastion hosting
For the what?
from the grant for the $2,200 every quarter?
Yes.
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 Okay,
Yeah, that's
so.
Fiddler, it's on the number 11 on the projects.
what we called it. So it's 2,200 times 4.
Okay, it's not going up, okay. I hate this, looking at the laptop. It only shows part of a page and then skips, okay.
Yep, I just
Sorry.
accepted it.
Is that gonna increase?
It is going to increase this next year because we are approaching, billing level. So they charge by the number of images that you have.
Yeah,
So we're going to be exceeding that sometime in the near future. So it's gonna go up $1,800 for next year,
for the total.
for the total. for
Okay,
next
so we'll make sure we add that in there. 'Cause that's a very important connection.
year. Yes.
So,
And also, going back to those extra funds that were in the land information fund. I'm wondering if that 13,000, remember we had that at the end of the year that wasn't in the budget for the setup for Fiddler, and Sue was supposed to pay that in 3 installments, and she didn't pay any of them before she left, and she should have paid one the first year, or the last year of her office, and then, so we had to catch up, so now we still have 2 payments to go. And I'm wondering if that 13,000 wasn't supposed to come out of that extra fund, because it was not in my budget. And she should have known to put it in the budget if it was supposed to come out of my budget.
Okay, so we can discuss that because, I'm not sure. Yeah, we should have a discussion on that.
Because it just ended up coming out of the general fund, and I can't believe she would have intended to just drop the ball on that. So that might explain some of that other money as well,
So you have,
Payments.
2 more payments
so 13,000.
each?
Yeah.
And they're due this year?
Well, one's due at the end of this year, which should have been the last payment, but the first payment was never made. So we made the first payment last year, so this will be the second payment this year, and then next year there'll still be another payment.
okay, so 26 and 27, you still have to do it. Okay,
Yes.
And then is it done then?
Then it's done, because that was the fee to set up the system in the first place, to scan everything and to set up the system and do all of the background stuff to set
Make
up
the
the
move.
indexes and all that stuff. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So that would explain a lot right there.
Okay.
Because when it came time, when that bill came, I had no clue it was coming, so I did a bunch of research and then had to talk to Trish because it had to come out of the general fund because it was not in my budget.
Okay.
And you didn't, I asked you about it, Julie, and you didn't think it was in your budget, so I'm guessing it was that leftover stuff that wasn't kept track of properly.
And then do you get money back from Fiddler at all? Right, you do.
Yes, and it goes into our regular budget to offset our expenses.
Okay.
That's for our services, our subscription. That's what it's for our other expenses.
yeah. So then dam shadows and I don't know if the bill, I'll have to ask, tell me about it yet. MSA just updated our dam shadows. We got that done. So I'll have a bill pay that yet. And it's on the public website too, for Josh and. So if we ever have an emergency, we can bring that up and it'll be, those dam shadows will be on there, so.
Yep.
When it comes to the emergency, if there's one that breaks, we know where there's been a we can notify people downstream.
It's important.
Yeah. We don't have anything, but
Yeah, hopefully you never need it.
at least not before I leave.
Okay.
And then we did this was the LiDAR project. Getting that updated. And that I did have put on the land information website and the zoning website. So I did go in and click on that and they could look at the webpage that shows all the LiDAR stuff. So you can zoom in and see what the contours are, all that kind of thing. So made that open to the public. Finally felt comfortable enough to do that.
Like in the last week.
Yeah, last week.
So,
I didn't want to go ahead and do it and then we didn't know.
Is that a separate app?
It's
Not, it's not,
Here's,
it's not on the GIS, so it's a separate. app.
yes.
You could give us a guide, so to speak, on that at some point.
Yeah,
yeah, once we get the apps, we have new apps coming out, then we can give you an overview, once we get the new apps going.
Because people are likely to reach out to us.
Yeah.
For, you know, if we have anything like that, so it'd be nice if we could see how it works.
and we should be able to do it. I don't know. Yeah, we'll just have to. I don't know if I can click on the link maybe before we leave to show you that.
Progress. Yay.
And then, so any questions on the 26 grant?
25.
25 grant, yeah. So basically, I think everything's been done. And if there's, like I said, we'll know what the bill is from I'm sorry. MSA for the damn shadows, and that's the only, like, that's bill left to pay. And then, because we spent quite a bit on, through updating parcels and stuff, I think I can amend the agenda for, amend that budget sheet or the grant to just say we used this much for the dam shadows and the rest went towards parcel updates. That's okay with you guys? Okay, so we spent so much money and we gotta show that we spent dam shadows, depending on what the dam shadows one is gonna cost. Then I can amend the grant to say we spent, say it was $2,000 on those, and then we're upping what we spent on the parcels.
You can update the 2025 grant.
Yep,
You're just basically splitting that part out so they can see that that was specifically paid for.
right,
We already had it in the budget, but
yeah,
now you're gonna set it out as its own item.
correct.
Well, it's in there, and if it costs less than the 5,500, then we can move the money into the parcels.
And
And
then
just update it.
it's clean that way. We've done that before. I've done it
Okay.
last year just because
Makes sense.
it keeps things clean.
Well, then when you look back, then you can see, oh yeah, we did do that. This is how much it costs.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
And then we're on to the 26th grant. So that was the budget sheets for, we had $77,888 for the base budget. Again, $20,000 for the strategic grant, that base thing, and $1,000 for training.
So as you can see, we're down to $9,842.96 out of the budget right now. And since we flew the new orthos, we needed to align the road center lines and the PLSS corners in every township. So that's been a big project that Calvin at MSA and Scott have been working with. And the cost has come in because it's a lot of work. So we're a little bit over our budget, a little bit on that. So we may have to, the rest of the year, take some of the other monies that's in that fund to keep us running to pay those expenses as they come
Yeah.
along.
So-
We've used all of the $1,000 in training, and we are a deficit of $25. So that has been taken care of as well.
So the strategic grant, we still used it at 20,000 for parcel maintenance. And then, but
Can I ask a quick question? Is there a minimum that we're gonna wanna keep in these two funds? I mean, we found we have money. But is there a minimum amount that we're gonna say, okay, we did never want those funds to drop below this amount unless if there's a special project or something? Yeah,
Like, just be conservative, just because we don't know what grants are gonna be cut, what grants are not gonna be cut, and the costs are going to rise for different things that we're already doing.
so that might be something that we should put on the next agenda.
Yep. I think so, I agree.
Establish that.
And then, by then we'll have a clearer picture to, with her, with Leanne, what we've actually got. So I don't wanna like you said, we're probably gonna need orthos again, we may need LiDAR stuff. Eventually, I just don't wanna. Yeah, I think we need to keep something in there in case something comes up that we have to do. And it's not, we don't have grant money for it, you know. Our server crashes, we're gonna buy a new server, that type of thing, I don't wanna lose that.
Yeah.
So, we had Esri license, GIS, we're Fiddler again, Adobe. And I don't know why, put in the dam shadows, we have, so with that money we won't spend, because we're already spending it out of the 25 grand.
Do you think that the GIS contract work is gonna be more than that?
Yes. And I think we need to, I wanna amend the grant. I like to amend this grant because the two numbers up there, the dam shadows, I don't know why I put it in there. And then the update pouts, I don't think we're ready for that. So that'd be another 11,000 that could go, I could amend it and put it towards the GIS work. If you guys are okay with that. I have no idea why I put it in the 25 grand, or 26 grand and the 25 grand. So. That's another $11,000 that would come out of the grant money.
Go into that other fund.
Yeah, this year is just gonna be more because of the ortho center lines and that sort of thing.
So is updating parcels, is that strictly parcels that are created, or is that going back and other stuff?
So that's strictly new,
Yeah,
what we get
strictly
CSMs and, what we do for splits
So
and,
splits.
and that kind of stuff. And then they're doing road center lines, and once in a while, I have that deed that really sucks.
So I know Todd sent me a tie sheet. He had to do a new tie sheet, and the coordinates on the previous one were significantly off.
Uh-huh,
I don't know if that,
yep,
do you want me to pass that on?
To me, yep.
Update that?
yep, and we can update that through Kelvin,
Okay.
definitely, yep. Yep,
So Julie, when you have a deed that has an ugly legal description, so you're reaching out to MSA,
so Kelvin will draw it for me if I
Okay.
can't get it to close, and then we find out why it can't close. So there's Plaza survey, or it's been wrong for 12 years, and we find the right one that closes, and then we go back and review it through that.
so maybe we should look at that and have Steve take a look at some of those, so we're not paying extra.
Oh, we pay Steve 2 hours a month. And
Yeah,
then
he's on a
and I take money in to pay for the certified surveys that he reviews. And then everything else has to come out of the surveyor budget, which I don't have. We only have so much money in there.
And I would feel better keeping Kelvin online.
Well, eventually he would have to be anyway if there's changes to be made, but would it be more cost effective to have Steve do it instead, or at least to preliminary, troubleshoot that?
Maybe I have, maybe at the most 16 or so, if that,
What does that cost?
not even half an hour of work. I just would feel better sticking to where I'm at.
Almost looking at ways to try to save
Yeah,
money.
but that little bit isn't gonna make any difference. That little tiny bit, because he does map requests, like, and a 12-month plan, $2,000. So. I mean, if we had our GIS technician here, that'd be great. We don't have one, so
No. Can't afford it,
we cannot. That is a correct statement. So,
unfortunately.
thank you.
Just trying to throw some ideas out
Yeah.
there.
Thank you.
So any questions on the two grants? I think gonna amend, I'll probably do the amendments at the same time and send them in. once I find out how much the pouts. I'm sorry, guys, dam shadows are gonna cost, and then
But that's on the 25.
25, and I gotta get that, and then those,
And 26, we can just amend right now.
right,
Yeah,
yeah, I can do that right away.
Yeah, and add the 1,800 to Fiddler.
So, oh, yeah,
13
no, 1,800. So we have down
for
for
26.
26, yeah,
Oh,
Oh,
really? For
Yeah,
this,
this is for 26, never mind.
yeah,
26 grand.
the 1,800 comes in 20.
Are you gonna,
You're right. I don't think we're gonna hit it before the end of this year, but
Okay.
I
okay,
don't know for sure because like
Yep.
I said, it's based on the volume, so.
okay,
I'm
we'll
not
make sure,
exactly
I'll make sure we got that amount. I'll
We'll be
start,
okay.
I can start, once we get the 27 grant, which we talk about next. I mean, there's a couple things I can fill in already, but we get to the, like the base budget, we'll make sure we put that amount into, update the Fiddler amount.
So if we happen to get that before the end of the year, that would be $450. So if we do happen to go over, are we still gonna be okay?
Yep, you just give us the,
Yep,
Okay, all right, good.
that's
Okay,
an
that makes me
unexpected
feel
expense.
Is there a reason that we were like less than the year before?
For which, for the, how much money we got?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because she took in more money.
No, I'm talking about like the grant, because you have 77,000 here, and then the year before you have 78,000.
Right, because it's $100,000 minus what is taken in.
What we get for recordings.
Okay,
Yeah,
So
so
that's the difference.
that's the difference.
That's the money we actually get from them.
okay, perfect.
Because we've already earned this much, so now they bump us up to the 100,000.
Yeah,
Just wanna double check.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's confusing, but
and there was talk of bumping it up to 125,000, I think. I don't know if
there
it,
has been talk. I haven't heard anything more.
yeah, we haven't heard
recently.
anything from land information.
So that's the only one that really changes, not the 20,000 or the 1,000.
We used to get like $60,000,
Which, yeah,
and that strategic grant, and they pulled it back.
Well, that was more when they first started setting up, requiring the registered deeds to have all of this, have the tract index and all that. So there was more money to begin with. So that's why it was then.
Yeah,
There's less now. So now they're figuring you're maintaining the systems that you built. So.
and actually, I will say this county is, all the county is, I think it's done a great job over the years, getting all the, what do you call it, the corners, most of the corners marked. And Steve could attest or say that, what we need, what we need, if you need, more we need for the monumentation. Getting all the parcels in the system. And having that available for the public to look at, I think we've,
Yeah, for a small county, we offer a lot. It's a lot of bang for the buck, so.
So the next thing is, I haven't gotten the grant yet, I don't know the dollar amounts, so we, just kind of discussion on what you should use them for some ideas besides the typical, the software we need to pay for and
So-
GIS work.
here are the things that we currently have to support for next year that as we license, we're currently at 30,200. On that, the LiDAR link is $2,500 to, support per year. Fiddler, we did 8,800 plus. And then, MSA right now, we're paying 55,953.81. So that brings us to $97,453.81. Our current grant is $98,368, so that leaves us $914.19 to spend.
Anyway, what we get for a grant.
I will have more money in the land information side because we have more recordings already this year and NHS is transferring all their mortgages to Southwest Cat. So we're gonna have hundreds of assignments of mortgages. So we're looking forward to all that money.
When will that happen?
It's already started. We're getting about 20 every other day. So we'll have a lot more recordings for this year than we did last year, and we're already ahead. So.
that like what John, the last emergency management, he had talked about the floods and getting those mapped. I know they talked about that.
The what map?
He had talked about, linking EMS for runoff for floods.
I talked about that.
John did.
Oh, John did.
Is that something that can come out of the NG 911?
I know he just talked about putting it in.
We can circle back and maybe reach out to John on what he was thinking there. Obviously, it would just be like data recorded for down the road kind of things, like what was actually affected on the floor. I don't know if it's necessity, but we can find out.
And through the NG 911 grant, we're hoping to get a new GPS system to mostly for getting the addresses in the right spot. So those will be more accurate. Yeah, and we may use it for other things, but our main focus will be on the address points because those are,
The grant will cover it.
well, you're right, the grant will cover it, but I mean, it really needs to because we've had, and we'll talk about it a little bit under the number 11, but there's just been some issues over the years. And we'd like to be able to, that's why, and like I said, if we have to, we can use it for other things. We need to. We use it for, thought was doing more on the pouts, we go out to the GPS, where the tank is, where the drain field is, so if somebody comes later, that's a land information issue. The non-metallic mines, making sure we got those mapped correctly.
It also might be useful for cataloging burial sites off private property.
That'd be nice.
That will be coming, so.
Yeah,
Did Todd talk about, going through like the monuments and seeing like what the status is of that, to see if he needs to replace anything?
yeah, I think that was one thing.
I think that he had talked about.
And then,
I know what he told me was, I think the old GIS person, like had the copy of what was left. But he thought there was only just a few, like down along the river for monuments.
I think he
So
was,
you go to like center of sections.
yeah, I think he was talking about like maintenance, like looking at them to see if they were still in good condition. And things
Oh,
like that.
look, you know, like.
Like
a
on,
program.
putting on like a plan as far as.
Yeah, like, yeah,
Checking so many every year
Yeah.
or something.
right,
Yeah.
yeah, a maintenance
So-
program, which.
So
yeah,
all in
a good
one.
idea.
Well, and I think the center sections is important to,
Right,
if we
that-
have
I
funds
know-
to do that.
I know Todd said that he had, on some of the funding, he had bought extra monuments in anticipation of maybe going to doing some of the center sections. So I think they're in the storage shed.
so we should probably get a spreadsheet on what's left for center corners. And then, is there a way to figure out what is the oldest PLS corner and like,
Well, they have them, I mean, there's dates obviously on the tie sheets. I think if you go to the state website for all the tie sheets, I think they have the maintenance year on there.
okay,
And I think, like a lot of counties will, on their GIS site, will, on the tie sheet itself, will say current maintenance year, when it was done, and then we'll have one when the next year required to do maintenance again on it is. I know a lot of counties will have that right on there when you click the tie sheets. I think we could get, by the state website, I think you could probably get what years things are, what they're at. Yeah.
where they need to start, okay. And then, once we pull that up, maybe we can get an amount for that as well. And then, the MSA contract, we're going to ask them to submit a contract for around $55,000, $56,000 for the GIS work. Again this year. So we can keep, current with our splits and all of our other mapping that we do. And then, I've also asked them to review a couple of the other plans to see if there's some new items that we can come up with, to enhance our system. So Scott will get back to us on that for our next meeting.
I have a question, not to get off track with this, but I get this question from people. How often is the app updated with the surveys? Like, once they're scanned in,
Mhm.
like how often does that get updated then into the survey app?
So I know that we put the Plata surveys on there. and on the website for him to review, and I think he works on them every other month.
Okay, so it's like once a month it's
Yeah,
updated?
Yeah,
basically?
and the map is updated every Friday,
Okay,
all the new parcels and whatever he's been working on.
okay, and then is the old also being updated? Is there's that a directory that Richland County had a directory?
No, that's not being maintained.
That's not being maintained.
That's
It's
just the old stuff. We aren't
Okay.
using that anymore.
Because there's surveys and stuff in there, but that's not being maintained.
I don't think so.
Okay, I just was
Not agree
curious,
with what
'cause
Todd told me.
Todd told me he didn't know when I asked him, so.
I don't think that is. There's a list that has links to, it's like it's not a spreadsheet, but it's a page that has links to all of these old surveys and it doesn't reference it on the new GIS map.
And where is that at? Or is it is it an app?
I can give you the address. Todd just gave me the address, a link for it,
It must
so
be
I'll
on
give it
theirs.
to you.
It must be on Richland County server.
Yeah, it's on the server, but I don't know. I don't think anything has changed. I don't think it's being updated.
Okay.
And there isn't any easy way to find it, which would be helpful.
But I'm just worried about the people that have that, access to that, and if they're knowing it's updated or not, if they're using it, and they're missing a bunch of surveys.
I don't think a lot of people know about it.
But they might not.
I think maybe just a few of the older surveys and they already know, I think that it's just a additional resource. It's not the resource.
Yeah, if you could give me that link so I can see what it is.
All right, I'll send it to you.
And then,
To get you off track, but there's some questions I get.
Yeah, you think about this stuff.
okay,
Well, it's still kind of part of the grant part, if there's something we need to do.
Right? I mean, it wouldn't be the worst to get that old stuff that's scanned in, all access to everybody too, like the other surveys. Because now that's buried in that old directory service and they're there. But
yeah, how do we move it?
it'd be nice if they were actually, like the survey app, they're part of, because that's just, I mean, surveyors should be looking at that old stuff too.
More things we can make available, less that we take in, spending our time on.
I think there also is the county highway.
Here's what it looks like, Julie.
Isn't there the county highway maps are on there too for the roads? I think are in that, on there too. I believe they're buried. in there.
Okay, yeah, if you want to send me that link, then I can take a look as to where it's.
gis.co.richland.wi.us/Richland %20 county %20 flats %20.
Copy.
Percent survey.
Copy it, please. Thank you. Oh, my. I got it.
Is that like accessible from something on the public website though?
No,
Or is it just people who know
they
it?
just knew it was there.
Well,
Because it's the old, before they, to the new GIS, that's what they used. And Vernon County, they're still updating theirs. They still have theirs. But we stopped updating, I believe, when switched over to the new system. So
That's probably didn't know it was there.
yeah, well, somebody didn't anyways. But yeah,
I think a lot of the county highway plats are scanned in on there too, in that system.
Okay,
Learn something new. So if we can get some quotes on some things and then we can come back. Once the grant is out, then maybe we can schedule, I don't know if we can, when does it usually come out, Julie?
so we want to be ahead of schedule. So I think our next meeting, end of August, so that we bring to the table, vote on what we want to
Yeah.
spend the money on, so that we're ready to roll.
I would actually say the end of July,
End of
would
July.
be better for
Okay.
everybody, just in case we have discussions and things like that. I just don't like to be rushed.
I doubt if I could get all of the information I need for what I was talking about by then. Because it'll require my vendors to come and look at. Yeah. So I doubt if I can get it done.
Just know that like every year we push it back and then
We scramble.
we scramble.
Yeah.
And then we aren't able to actually see like the final grant. You know what I mean? So like for me, like I think that like we all deserve to be able to have like a good discussion, come back and then, approve what we're actually turning in together. So I see that like if we keep pushing it back, then we're gonna be in the same situation we've been the last 3 years.
We do end of July, and if you don't have to do it in August again.
Well, and we could see what we have at the end of July. That's fine. Yeah,
Like, we know that that won't be the be all end all deadline. If you don't have it by then, you can't get it.
Right.
We so.
Yeah, cause that put me in a bad spot last year because I had to beg him to come and they came on short notice and then we didn't spend a dime. So, you know, it's hard to get him to make it a priority.
but we're gonna want quotes, we're gonna want the actual money in a quote so that we can, we have to also follow up our sub quotes as well as we have to have that in our possession so that we know exactly what we're spending. So. Okay. NG 911 sign, address signs. It's our next.
Right.
Did we go over that was content?
We're gonna ask them again to come back with contract and I've given them some new ideas to go through, so we'll see what they come back with. But we need to have a contract.
Yeah,
with them.
sorry.
Sorry,
Thank you.
that's our GIS technician. / do everything else.
So the NG 911 address signs. So this, we're looking for a way, okay. What's happened is working with, through the dispatch, with MSAG. Okay. So some of the addresses, there's some addresses that are wrong, I'll call them. They're not falling in the range on the roads. And so Noelle is gonna be working, my staff is working on, figuring out this winter where those addresses, what they should be, what road they're supposed to be on. It started in Yuba because of the change in the emergency, the Hillsborough taking over Yuba away from the Richland ambulance service. And so there were address points. It was actually on County Highway C, but they use their address. It's an address on like a town road that went by them or a street. And so it's hard for when they call in, where to go. Where sheriff, fire, ambulance is supposed to go. So they went through and they fixed those, and so people have to change their address. They have to have new address signs. And so it's about $45 a sign, and we don't have it in our budget we don't think it's right that we're changing their address, but then we're making them buy a new sign. So we're looking at we talked with Trish, we're gonna have to find a way to pay for those extra signs. We don't know how many there are gonna be in the rural part of Richland County.
So also to go back, NG 911, we have the grant for NG 911 and we have to meet a goal in order to get for that grant money to keep coming in. And we have to be error free. And so these are some of the errors that we have in the county. So in order to get those funds, we have to correct those errors coming in. So that to get those funds, we have to spend the funds out of another area to correct that. So it's like a give and take through there.
Do you like an estimation? So is it $45 for just the sign, not like the staff to?
No, the staff would be our normal staff.
Yeah.
We're not
40
paying extra.
$45 per sign.
And we talked to Trish about trying to figure out where to come up with the funds to pay to do that.
So is this,
And the stick.
Yes.
so is this something that's gonna get reimbursed then, once we complete it?
So yeah, NG 911 will reimburse us, but not like.
So you're just saying we need to pay for it in advance and then we are gonna get paid back?
Well,
No, I don't think so.
so it's another pool, it's another money.
But I don't-
pool, But it doesn't come back. to us.
$45 for just the sign or the sign and the post?
Sign in the post.
Sign and the post. Okay.
So NG 911, we get $40,000 a quarter from that. And some of that can go through to our orthos and some of the other things that we have. But we can't put it back in the fund. We can have it to spend. But in order to get the 40,000, we have to fix these addresses. So it's kind of tied, but it's kind of separate. So that money will never come back into our fund
It's not gonna.
as a
So it
rebate.
just funds new projects, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's not gonna pay for itself.
No,
Yeah.
no,
And so Trish asked me to put on the agenda.
to see how we thought about using our funds for that, because kind of all linked together.
But it's not just an issue of, have you already done the job to identify where the misalignments, the addresses and what they should be effectively?
That's what we're currently working on.
Yeah, so isn't the like, I know we talked about the main goal here is to fund the actual sign, materials. But the effort to make that alignment, does that fit underneath NG 911 stuff? Because that's kind of that what you're talking about, that setting up the data and the information and the processes
part.
to get to the next part, right? And I feel like that could be fit underneath that, because
Yeah,
your time and they're your staff, but at some point, the effort of it is taken away for this specific project, and I feel like it should account since.
I think that's one thing we need to talk about. I don't know. The NG 911 grant is does not like it going towards staff.
Yeah, and but if it's for a special project that they're doing, that might be above and beyond their normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one thing we gotta find out when we have our next NG 911 meeting.
so what about the signs too? Could they come out of there? Because that's all together as well.
Should come out of their funds.
I mean, we should probably ask that question too.
Yeah.
Should it come out of,
It should be part of what they asked for in their grant, is to fund the signs to make that correction.
Is there funds reaching other departments though within that grant?
Well, most of it goes towards the sheriff's department.
But
And
Bob said
EMS.
that's not what it's intended for, though. He said, if you can make the correlation of anything that you want to do that falls back on how they use addresses in 911, the grant should pay for that.
But I think the problem is we can't get the next grant to ask for the money to do that until we fix the addresses.
So are we already funded for the research to make these corrections then?
No,
So how do they expect you to do that if you didn't get money to make those, to do that research to figure out where your problem was?
but
So we did the research. So we worked with Crossroads and they went through and they said, here are all your errors and your addresses. So that was already done and that was funded by the NG 911. Now they're saying, okay, to get your next grant money, you have to correct X amount of your errors. And you have to have like a certain percentage of errors that are corrected. Correct me if I'm wrong on this. And so now we're in the position that we're saying, okay, for us to apply for the next grant, we've got to fix the errors that are.
So the money to do that probably should have been asked for the last time, not just the research part of it, but the actual implementation of it should have been all in one.
but you only get so much. You only get
If you wouldn't have known the extent of what you have to repair, you gotta treat it like a citation from the state. Basically, you're not in compliance. In order to proceed forward and restore services, you would have to spend the money internally to become back in compliance.
And so I think, staff time, we just know that this is something we need to do and.
so we've already kind of talked about that.
Working on that. It's the cost of the sign. So we talked about, could it be a capital improvement project, but if it doesn't reach that $5,000 mark, it really couldn't be part of that. So we didn't know if some of these funds, since we found there is some funds, that if it's under 5, maybe it goes here, so over 5 and do it as a capital.
That makes sense. Do we know how many it is?
I
When will we know? How do we decide when we don't know?
So if you do 500 at $45 a pop, that's 22,000 fund.
won't be that many.
It's not.
Yeah, that'd be an awful lot.
Didn't somebody throw out maybe 100?
What's 250 just? So 6,007.
So we could say that if it's under X amount, and we vote on it today,
Yeah, that makes
we
sense.
will fund that many. If it's over that, we'll fund that many.
Capital project.
So
So will the capital project be over and above or encompass the 5,000 plus whatever?
Encompass the 5,000 plus.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
So
that
it's
makes
either
sense.
or, we
Yeah.
either do full capital improvement
Or the other.
or we do full here.
Yeah, and our
That's
plan
good.
is, some of the biggest problems are actually here in the city, and that's another story.
Yeah, why is the city paying that if that's wrong on their end? Well, I mean,
We're not
there's
gonna go-
We're working on that.
We're working-
We're
working on
starting
that.
to have communications with the city about this.
She's been working with the city on that.
And what we have to remember is these are decades of error.
Right.
You know, this is the 50 years ago, somebody said 52 is my favorite number, so can I have my house number be 52 Center Street? Sure, even though it's a 300 block.
Yeah, well,
So
a
it's
classic
less
example,
than-
like I was told, was where the old medical center is, that's the 1300 block. The next block, you live in that area, it's 300.
It doesn't make sense out there, that's true.
I mean, that's
We're Amazon guys.
So it's like, and so especially in the city, they may have to, if the city won't change the address numbers, doesn't want to have their constituents change their address numbers, then Noelle in my office is going to have to remap certain things to get things to fit. And so our plan is,
So it's the lesser of the two evils. That's what you're telling me.
our plan is, we're gonna, Mike's old office, I think that's a place where we'll answer the phones and days, she'll maybe take a day a week and work on that. She'll be in that room by herself,
Gotcha.
no interruptions. So we get this done. But the biggest thing is, if we're asking people to change their address, asking to pay for the sign too on top of it, I think is asking, you know, and it's only $45, but still, we're asking them and we're changing their address.
So this would have to come out of 48, it's not an actual project.
Correct.
This money would have to come out of Fund 48.
But it has to come out of Fund 48, it's not actually.
skip over. So, is there an amount that we wanna?
You do $7,000.
I think we said 5,000,
If
Is
it-
it 5,000?
because if it's a capital improvement, over 5,000 is gotta be, it can be capital
I would
improvement.
stick with that.
So 5,000.
Do I have a motion for that?
I'll make a motion to spend $5,000 out of Fund 48 for the address. Address,
Signs.
correct, yes, the address sign project.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Nolan. All in favor, say aye.
Wait a minute, we need discussion.
Oh, sorry.
What about, adding the part about sending it to the capital improvements if it's more than 5,000? Get that in there as well.
But do you, because can you mandate? Can this committee mandate?
We could just apply for ask.
That's what we need to do, is ask for it to be
Yeah.
capital improvement.
Yep. Any more discussion? I'm sorry, I moved forward. That's too fast. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Now this next one, some of you may have been asked this question. Was it Southwest Regional came to us,
They did a study
study,
to look and see, is there a benefit to the city and the county working together to hire a GIS person? So the study was completed about a month ago. I had a meeting with Troy Mackey, and then county, we're gonna have a county meeting later this month, next month, to talk about, okay, doesn't matter when, to talk about that, but I think that was something that we said, let's just put it on here and see what people's thoughts.
and they were, but basically what I saw was, what they wanted to do was to use our grant money, to pay for this person. And in reality, years ago, the county did that. They paid for Lynn's position and part of Mike's position, using the grant money for that instead of paying for
Address.
projects. And I don't think that's right. I don't think we should be using your grant money for a person. We have to come up with different funds for that rather than a person.
Plus, those funds have to be project based. So if we're going to have a GIS technician, we have to have projects that meet the
criteria
and meet the grant fund.
and have to be completed within a time period as
And,
well.
yes,
right.
and
So
they
let me
can't
just-
be deviated. Then on top of it, you have to have a person that's going to manage that person
Track them.
and manage that person at the city as well
And the
as the county. Currently, we have a manager that manages us right now. So MSA manages us, manages Calvin, manages Scott, manages David for $55,000 a year. I think pretty good deal there. And the amount that the city has available, I think, it's around $10,000.
But it's a grant. You know, so
Through a
that
grant.
grant's gonna be every single year, or if it's gonna be a
Correct.
shortcut, and then now we're spending $80,000 on somebody, which, yes, it'd be nice to have.
And you're not gonna attract somebody when you can't promise them continued employment.
Correct, yeah,
Who in their right mind would give up a good paying job to
Absolutely.
come to a job that might be a year?
Yeah.
You know, that just isn't gonna work.
And one of our other questions, right, Trish and I have talked a little bit, is the fact that, okay, so it's Park City, Park County, where's that person gonna be housed? And how are we going to determine, okay, they're putting this much money and city's putting this much money. Are we gonna say, okay, we're done working on city stuff and we're just working on counties? I mean, how do you divide it out? It's,
yeah, manageable.
And that's where I said the earliest we could even consider doing something would be 2028. There's no way we could put something together for 2027 at all. I think, you know, part of the report also talked about, though, there are some funds that we're spending that they question, and again, these are our funds, so I don't know all the ins and outs, and that's why I want us to meet, is to talk about, can we be redirecting some of these funds towards a position? Maybe yes, maybe no, I don't know. And that's why we wanted to sort of sit down and, I don't want to just say no. I
no,
really want us to get together to talk about it internally as a county, to say, yes, this is manageable for us, or no, this is.
and like I said, I do know that they don't really want us to put money on staff. We should be working on projects to get things out there. That's why Julie mentioned projects. That's more important than,
I just thought it was very strange that everybody else on the land council was interviewing, so, and I'm the one that does the money, so.
yeah, I don't
thought
know.
That was very strange.
I didn't
I didn't know
make,
anything
none of
about
us
it.
made that determination. They just. So. Mr. Nolan?
For us new people, what is GIS?
It's geographic information system. So basically, it's just all the information, any kind of information with land, about land. Like if you go to the public GIS site on our website,
So it's our parcel map. And on that parcel map are all the tax or your parcel numbers. And then they hook up to the tax information that we generate. And then you can also put different layers on. You can put the flood layer on, you can put zoning layer on pretty soon. You can put trails layer on. You
Road
can
closed.
road closed layers
Culverts.
on.
So it's the basic system of plotting the land and then adding all of those other details on top so you can see where everything is.
Right.
It's
So
our,
it's like an aerial overview, starting with a map, and then you can add pictures, and then you can add all the other
Putting up
things.
it's our county onyx.
Everyone else uses Onyx. Onyx sounds insane.
Yeah.
here we go.
It is an
Where do
easy
you
word.
think they get?
So this is the public GIS site. And so these are the different maps. So these are the different layers.
I think if you click there on the left hand side.
There you go. So if I go down to, aerial imagery,
We have our Plaza survey on there and our certified surveys show up on there, and there's lots and lots of information there, and the public can see all of this.
so here I can put on what's called CSM, which is, it's a certified survey map. So these ones in like this orange are all the certified surveys that have been done, and this is near Richland Center, so. And certified surveys have to be done with 10 acres or less. It's got the supervisory districts on there. I don't know if these will show up. Yeah, here's supervisory districts. It's extraterritorial zoning. I don't know if the public site has the,
Public doesn't have quite as many as that. The public site doesn't have quite as many choices.
no, and I think we talked about putting the zoning one onto this site, Kelvin.
This is
Calvin's
the
got-
one that where Julie was saying, we've been transitioning to a new
Right,
framework, more current framework, that old apps essentially that they were built on, that's been retired. And we just need to get everybody together to agree that's ready to be shared with the rest of the world.
so like one of the things we've talked to them about, we have an app for zoning. So the plan is that would be one. I don't know why they didn't want to do it in the past, but now we'd like to have that available to the public. Because if a realtor or somebody says, hey, what's this zoned as? They can kind of look at it and it'd still be they still should contact us too to talk about things, but at least we're not automatically, they can look up some information before they come and talk to the Julie or myself or, any of us. Deb, Steve, so that more we have available for them, the less time it takes up,
So will that zoning, when you click on it, will that give you setback requirements too?
So that could be the next step.
Right.
It's actual, to the actual zoning code.
When you click on it,
Is
it
the
breaks out the
code,
code.
is the code part of, sometimes those are in the legislative code.
It's in the muni code,
Community code, yes.
so.
So that can be linked to that.
Also attached our LiDAR that we've just acquired this year. But it's using photos from 2020 because I didn't keep up with it. So we did use the LiDAR from that. The project had been started, so we have now finished that LiDAR.
It's
And
kind of,
that gives you
if you go down our website, on government ordinance.
your depths and your contours of your
And then put
plans.
ordinances, it's
So that we think is a big step. I know that Kathy's group has started using that a lot. So that's a big fix for them.
anyway, it's on there and then there's, it's 119, it's the zoning code.
Lots of departments depend on the GIS.
I can see why.
Address location for sheriff's department. Legal descriptions for, for our department. Zoning, where they're gonna put septics and building, we're giving building permits and all kinds of things.
Thank you.
So like I said, Trish has been the lead on this, working with the city. So we want to do it, but we want to make sure that we're not, want to make sure if something happens, we want to have reasons, yes or no, why it won't work. Will or won't work. I mean, it's a great idea. If we had a lot of money, it'd be different, but I'd rather not use, me personally, I'd rather not use the money towards staff. Rather than, I'd like to have projects, get things. I was here when this first started, going back when basically what we were doing was getting monuments done, just the corners remonumented. And then it was, we started with one township to get the parcel maps on. And then we expand with that. We started with one company, we ended up with MSA a couple years later, because they were more timely at getting things done than we were with the other company at that time. But then we got coordinates on most of the corners, right, Steve? Most of the corners have coordinates now.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, I think it's very cute.
And then it's just expanded past there, but it's been a, 20-year process probably.
And even when our old GIS technician was here, MSA was always in the behind, kind of helping her with things that she couldn't finish all the way. So they've always been a direct partner. We had that person here and she did a ton of the work. But then when she had a question, she reached out to MSA and they helped us bridge that gap. So.
Going back to the, a joint technician. my fear would be that the city is gonna use that person like their assessor, because they haven't replaced their assessor and nobody's stepping up for that. And I would be afraid they would be loading more work on that person than their 10% of whatever they're gonna pay for.
Yeah,
I think they have accurate appraisal now. For their
Yeah.
assessor instead of Gretchen.
yeah. So anyway, I mean, that's something that's in the works.
You don't have to make any like decisions or anything.
No,
That's
it's just more of an informational thing, let you guys know what's going on. Probably when we have when Trish has more information to give us, then we'll put it back on the agenda to talk about. Then we talk about setting the next meeting dates. Is there a calendar on this thing? I don't know. There's not a calendar on this website, is there?
I have,
I am gone the week of the 21st, county board week. Come back for county board, but I'm taking time off that week, so I won't
We
be
gone
able-
then too.
You're gone then too, okay?
Yep.
So like the week of the 27th then? I mean, you'll send an email.
You're right, but if you guys got some dates available.
The 27th is Monday. Does that Monday work good for everybody?
Not when I've been gone for a whole week.
Tuesday? I gave you a day.
Tuesday would be better. There's usually
And,
lots of
and
correspondence.
Steve, you
but-
can either come or we could join via
How about
WebEx. I
Thursday?
can run this right.
Oh, that would be good.
Okay, what's the date on
Yeah.
that?
30th.
How about Thursday, the 30th?
Does this time work okay?
I'm gonna be gone that day.
Be gone?
31st?
Friday.
How about we go back to Wednesday? Wednesday, okay?
29th,
29th?
July 29th.
29th at 9:30.
Okay, and I'll talk to Miranda about getting this room.
Okay.
All right. We have a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Remember to have your quotes.
I'll
Yep.
make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Ashley, second by Josh. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Oh, it's long.